Hey everybody, hope you're doing well and hope you had a good weekend. Got a little overview for you for the things that you need to do for this week. So I'll get right into it. The first thing is that there is a new lecture and a quiz associated with it. What I've done is with the lecture is I've gone through and done a video, but really quickly because I've annotated is the word I'm looking for, annotated the slides, or at least a lot of the slides, to provide you the information you need. So I've just kind of gone through and hit some of the most important parts in the video, but you'll also be required to go back and look at the text that's on those slides to make sure you're getting all the information. And when you take that quiz, you'll see some of those questions actually ask you for details that's in the text. So make sure you're looking at the slides and especially the text that I've added to those slides when you're taking that quiz. So that is due by next week. I'll give you a week to do it. So it'll be due Monday at 5 p.m. probably, or maybe I'll give you to Tuesday at noon. I don't know. I haven't decided apparently. The second thing is the decomposition lab report. So we've been doing this decomposition experiment for the entire semester. We can't not finish that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go harvest your leaves today or this evening and dry them. And then as soon as I get them weighed, I will send you the data. So if we're lucky, I'll get those weighed by the end of the day tomorrow. Might be Thursday morning at the latest. I'll send you that data. So I gave you a handout at the very beginning of the semester on the assignment description and what you needed to do to complete this assignment. Kind of for the lab report portion of the handout I gave you, ignore that. I've simplified it so that it's not quite as much work, especially because some of it's a little bit difficult maybe when we can't have a one-on-one conversation or that face-to-face conversation. So I've tried to simplify it. And so here, let's go real quick and I'll highlight the things I've simplified. So that assignment is actually back under week 1. I'll add it to week 15 as well, so it's easy for you to find. And then let's make this so you can see it. So here's the assignment description. It's actually assignment 8. So if you go down to the lab report, I still want you to write a lab report. You're going to be sharing data with you and your partner, but you'll be writing the lab report by yourself. So you turn in your own lab report. You know, our goal this semester was to really work on kind of the organization of your writing and the conciseness and accuracy of your writing. We've done as much as we could. Now, you know, we don't have time for us to give you feedback and turn it back in. And obviously we haven't done a great job of doing that up to now. So just get the information in the lab report. We're going to be very lenient on the actual writing and organization. As long as you go through this list of information and make sure you've got all of that in your lab report, and you're going to do great. What I've done, we've in the past, I've had you include lots of data and figures in this lab report, and so we've simplified it. You have to make one hypothesis statement, and then you have to show one figure that's related to your hypothesis, and that's it. So hopefully it's a little bit simpler. So your hypotheses can relate to one of 3 things. Either you can relate your hypotheses or hypothesis to litter quality, which would be comparing an angiosperm to a gymnosperm. Or you could have a hypothesis related to temperature. So you could compare a pot that was, a leaf that was decomposed at room temperature versus elevated temperature. And then lastly, your hypothesis could be related to wet and dry soil. So you could compare a leaf that was decomposed, or a series of leaves, I should say, that were decomposed under high moisture conditions versus low moisture conditions. All right. And the way you're going to do that is we're going to get data from everybody. And so you're going to take your pot and then find somebody else's data that would be a good comparison to yours. So for example, if you have an angiosperm grown at high soil moisture and you want to see the effects of soil moisture on decomposition rate, what you would do is then find a group that had an angiosperm at low soil moisture but at the same temperature as you. So it was maybe both room temperature. plot those two sets of data on one figure, and then talk about those results and the differences you see or lack of differences you see between those treatments. All right, so you are going to have to plot up your data and the data of one other group that provides a good comparison to test your hypothesis. All right, so I've tried to make that relatively or simpler than it was in the past, so I hope it's okay and doable for you. Lastly, you need to make sure to compare your K values. So your K values are your decomposition rate. And I will, when I post the weights of your final leaves, I will post a video walking you through how to plot your data and how to calculate the K values, all right? But make sure you're gonna have two treatments to compare. Make sure you report the K values of both treatments in the text of your results section. You don't have to plot it, you don't have to put it in a table, you can just state the difference in your text, all right? And then I've tried to make the discussion fairly short. Your discussion might be 3 to 5 sentences long. That's all it needs to be, relatively straightforward. Again, we're grading on content alone on this assignment, so try not to get too hung up on organization or writing quality. I mean, make it easy for us to read or as easy as possible, but we're really going to be looking for the content in this one, all right? So let's go back to our PowerPoint slide. That's the decomposition report that's been modified. Also for this week, there is a video that's just an introduction to desert ecosystems and a quiz, a short quiz that'll be associated with that. What I did for this week in the introduction for desert ecosystems is I thought it would be fun, I don't know if it's fun, to hear from somebody that actually works in a desert ecosystem. And so what I did is I interviewed a friend and colleague that works in Moab, Utah and does a lot of work in desert ecosystems. So I interviewed her just to have her kind of talk about the desert ecosystem a little bit, what she does there, what she finds interesting about it. And she's just like such a cool person. So I hope like you'll watch that video and maybe be a little inspired and really appreciate her perspective on kind of like life in science and desert ecosystems. So that'll be due next week as well. And then just a couple of announcements. I've decided like not to do a final exam. All right. As long as you do the quiz associated with the lecture slides this week and next week, you're going to be golden. I'm not going to do a final exam because it was going to be open book anyway. And I'd rather you spend some time on the final assignment, like researching an ecosystem that you're most interested in. Hopefully you'll get as much out of that as anything else I could do. So that's my goal. So no final exam, just complete the quizzes for the next 2 weeks. But then on finals week, Friday of finals week, your final project will be due. And again, that's going to be in place of a poster. It's going to be the same kind of assignment, but you're going to record a video like this. And you're just going to have some PowerPoint slides and talk about the ecosystem that you researched. And so I'll be the only one to see those. And I'll grade those just by watching them and kind of going through that rubric and making sure you hit all those points in the rubric. The other thing I just realized I probably need to do is maybe give you a video on how to record your screen. If you haven't done that before, you can just record your voice in PowerPoint. So if you've got PowerPoint open and your slides open, there's a way to just record your voice over the slides. That's your easiest and most straightforward way of doing it. I'll make a video on one other way to do it. I only know 2 ways, so that's the one way, and the other way is using an app called Screencast-O-Matic, and you can get a free version of it that I've been using and works pretty well. All right, so that's it for this week. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, I'll be keeping an eye out for your assignments.